Right. So I recently picked up a new bowl gouge and a tool rest because I feel like I've been putting this off for far too long now. And what I mean by that is I guess it's finally time to try and turn the biggest bowl that I ever have. Well, I guess technically this will be round two, but anyways, let's get started. So I'm back in the shop just to kind of cool down and sharpen the chainsaw really quickly. And there's been a slight change of plans. So I was initially wanting to do a traditional style bowl like I have done in the past. However, when I cut into this oak, there was a huge crack kind of run down the middle and not in the direction that I needed it to run down. So it looks like I'll be turning a large natural edge bowl today, which I did not anticipate at all, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm kind of excited as well. But let me get this chainsaw sharpened so we can get this thing split in half and get started. Alright, so I went ahead off camera and got the faceplate attached. I just wanted to get that done. But like last time, I cannot lift this thing up by myself. So I'm going to go have to see if I can recruit one of my neighbors again to help me lift this thing up. But other than that, it's ready to go. I will have to do some chainsaw work to clean it up, because I think it's going to be a little too big on the swing, but we'll see once I get it attached. But other than that, yeah. Alright, but let me go get my neighbor and get this thing on the lathe. So let's do this. We'll just do it like we did last time.
Oh, I ain't got a hold of it. Alright, ready.
Grip. Alright, George.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
I appreciate it,
Call me
George.
if you need me.
I will, which should be alright, but
Alright, you be careful.
thank you, sir. So with the help of my neighbor, we were finally able to get this thing on here, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without him, so I'm very thankful for him. But in the process, I actually ended up breaking the tip of my indexing pen, which I need right now because I've got to cut this piece off here with the chainsaw that's just a tad too big. But I figured I would use the next best thing and just use an old drill bit. But with that said, let me get this thing cut off so we can actually get some turning done. All right, this is the moment of truth. All right. So after a quick break, I got everything ready to go. Sadly, I wasn't able to bring up the tailstock on this piece. There is just not enough room there, but I think it'll be all right. I just have to take it slowly, which really I don't think I actually have a choice with this one. But I do think it'll be all right because I think the last bowl that I turned this size, I don't believe I had the tailstock up on it either, but we'll see. Like I said, I'll just have to be patient with it, and I think it should be all right. So everything is ready to go, but let me get my mask on because I'm ready to get started. Well, it's been about an hour and a half since I started, and I'm not even halfway through. I'm starting to wonder if I maybe have bit off a little more than I can chew with this piece, but we're going to see it through. There's a few things I'm a little hesitant about. There is a void here in the bottom. There's cracks running through here, and I don't know what kind of issues they're going to cause here in the next hour or two. But we'll see. I'll keep trying to turn them away or turn as much as I can away. It's kind of odd how similar this is to the elm bowl that I turned a few months ago. It literally has the same exact issues, which I find kind of funny. But yeah, I'm going to get the lathe back on because I'm ready to get this thing flipped around. Alright, well, it is the next day, and I decided to call it quits yesterday afternoon once I reached a good stopping point for myself. I was able to get the void down here that was pretty bad at the tenon cleaned up, because that was my main concern, because I didn't want to leave that gap, especially with it being where the tenon would be. As far as these small cracks that run through the wood, there are still some there, and I'm afraid if I try to turn them completely out that it would just make this piece too small for what I'm trying to accomplish with this one. But they probably will open up a little bit more as the wood dries. That's alright. I will take some CA glue or epoxy and fill those in just like I did with the elm bowl. Other than that, everything finally got to a good rhythm, I guess, because the bottom here and the sides really did beat me up yesterday. There's some really intricate grain in this piece, or at least it seems like it. So I'm excited to get some oil in this thing once it dries. But yeah, all that's left to do is to finish up the tenon here, finesse the shape a little bit more, and then we can finally flip this thing around. Alrighty, well, I'm about halfway finished. I just got the wall thickness established, which I'm glad is over, because to me, this part of the bowl is the hardest part, especially on a natural edge bowl, because you're mostly cutting air at this part, and something this size, it is a little intimidating, but honestly, deciding to use a tailstock here was an awesome decision because it has made this so much easier than I expected it to be. So all I have left really is just to get the inside here cleaned out and finished, and I'm gonna try to leave this thing up as long as I potentially can because it's really made this bowl a lot easier than I expected it to or expected it to be. But yeah, with that said, let me get my mask on so we can finally finish this bowl up. Well, it's been a few months since I turned this monster of a bowl, and it is finally time to get to finishing this thing. Granted, I wanted to finish it a lot earlier, but life happens, things get busy around the shop here, and I just have had to put it off. That's neither here nor there. It is time to finally get this thing fixed and finished. Overall, the drying process went wonderfully. There are a few cracks that I do need to fill in, and granted, these cracks did not actually form during the drying process. These are like tension cracks or growth cracks, and they were just kind of in the wood when I turned the bowl. Luckily, no new cracks did form, and those that were already in it didn't actually get any bigger, so that's a plus. There is a knot hole here in the bottom that runs through the bottom here, and I will need to take a little bit of epoxy and finish that or fill that in. And you know, I don't use epoxy all that often, but with knot voids and that kind of thing, you know, stuff that's too big to fill in with CA glue, I will use epoxy. But yeah, with that said, let's get this thing ready because I'm actually leaving for vacation in about 2 hours. So my whole goal is I want to get all the repairs done so that way when I get back, I can just throw this thing on a lathe and get the sanding. So enough talking, let's get this thing repaired. That kind of came out faster than I expected. I might have to get like a little piece of scrap wood and knock that in the hole there. Alright, so it seems that everything is working perfectly. Doesn't seem to be any leaks, but I'll find out here in a minute once everything kind of settles. With that said, what I'm going to do is just turn off the camera and clean the shop because it is quite the wreck right now. And then once this sets and dries and I know that everything is alright, then I'm going to call it a day. So anyways, I will check back in a week and we will get this thing sanded. Alright, well the oak bowl is finished. It's finally ready to be refilled, but before I do that, I feel like I should address the whole purpose of this video, which was for me to attempt to try and turn the largest bowl that I've ever turned. Now that bowl is currently the elm bowl that I turned a few months ago, which is a 24-inch diameter bowl. Now this bowl length started around 28 inches, which is what the swing on the lathe here can hold. It's over the extension here. It can do about 28, a little under around 27 inches. So I started there. However, I did run into issues throughout the whole turning process with cracks and voids. So because of that, sadly, I did not beat my record. It came in right at 23 inches, 23 and a half, somewhere around there. So just right under there. But that's all right. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. I'm still very happy with the bowl. It turned out beautifully. I love it. It's fine. And the silver lining also is this gives me an excuse to try this for the third time. So I guess maybe the third time's a charm. We'll see. I'm hoping to do that at the very beginning of 2024, you know, early winter, early spring, late winter, somewhere around there. We'll see. I just got to find a piece big enough for it. So anyways, with all that said, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know down in the comments. I always do appreciate those and I enjoy reading them. And enough talking, here is the Natural Edge Oak Bowl.